The Walt Disney Company is desperately trying to promote the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, but wouldn't you know it, there's little Pedro Pascal in sight. The lead of the film? Nowhere near the interviews he's supposed to be doing right now? And why? Well, it turns out they're turning it all over to that Jon Favreau guy. And for good reason. Today we'll tell you why they're leaving the sequel trilogy behind and going for nostalgia, George Lucas style, with Jon Favreau. The Walt Disney Company has given up on promoting The Mandalorian and Grogu with Pedro Pascal as the lead. Instead, they're switching to Jon Favreau. Lauren, what are you trying to say already? You've got a finger up. Not that finger, different finger. What are you trying to say?
Point of order. This
Please.
is a Pedro story. We have to do the spritzer.
We cannot, Lauren. There's no way What is it with you? You have become addicted to the spritz.
I just like tormenting the audience as much as
Fine,
they like
one more.
me.
Fine, it's the editors who are going to be tormented by this trying to figure the clip. Here we go.
It's a super spring spritzel. Pedro's big year has Disney dropping. It's a super spring spritzel. Take down Star Wars, Avengers, oh please. They picked the wrong people. Even Bree said, nah, woke is collapsing. Theater snapping. It's a super spring spritzel. Oh, spring spritzel. Switch to Ryan Gosling.
Well, Disney has given up on poor Pedro Pascal being the lead for promoting the movie The Mandalorian and Grogu, which features him, shockingly, as the lead. Out of thatparkplace.com, check this out by Trevor Denning. Pedro Pascal comment fuels questions about the Mandalorian's future. Why? Because every time this guy opens up his mouth, something ridiculous comes out. It says, as the Mandalorian and Grogu prepares to move from streaming to theaters this May, questions are emerging about the future of the series. A recent comment from Peepaw himself has fueled speculation that The Mandalorian may not continue as a TV show. Now, we already all told you this was going to happen, but okay. While the Star Wars series helped launch Disney Plus and had a strong first season, audience enthusiasm appeared to taper over time, aka in that third season. During promotion for The Mandalorian and Grogu, Pascal and Favreau appeared alongside Sigourney Weaver in an interview with Fandango. Pascal reflected on childhood memories of watching adventure films like Raiders of the Lost Ark. He also said reading the script reminded him of seeing The Goonies for the first time. He noted that The Mandalorian and Grogu operates on a much larger scale than The Goonies, but it was just that feeling of a true adventure with characters that are grounded in real relationships and a visual experience that comes from John's imagination, where I feel like he just gets to go all out on this one, he said. Returning to the series, he said, we were very happy with it as a series, and I kept to myself that I was like, it's got to be a movie someday, it has to be a movie someday. And so some are taking from this that Pedro is done with the series, and we believe that's true. And that's, by the way, why it's no surprise to us that Disney has turned essentially completely to Jon Favreau to promote this thing. Yes, Sigourney and Pedro get a time from time to time, but it's mostly Jon that's out there. The director of the film, he's the only guy, I believe, who can drive people to go see it. He sat down with Matt Bellany of Puck, P-U-C-K, and did an interview with them. Here's what Jon Favreau had to say, and I want you to pay attention very closely to how he talks about the original trilogy, George Lucas, and what he's trying to do with this film. It's clear at this point, at least Jon Favreau, if not Disney, understands the assignment is to get away from the sequel trilogy as much as possible. Here's Jon Favreau.
When you go to the movies, somebody might be a big fan, but you want to be able to bring somebody who's not.
No, my kid's never seen a Star Wars movie in a theater.
And I got to make it work for that audience too. And so Star Wars has always been about emotion, spectacle, humor, excitement, fun. And if you think about it, when we first saw Star Wars, it's been since renamed Episode 4, New Hope. George Lucas dropped us right in the middle of a storyline, but I never felt like I was at a loss because I understood who the good guy was, who the bad guy was, and he pulled me into that experience. And I think he was influenced a lot by the cliffhangers of his youth. And we really lean into that kind of pulpy, fun space opera thing. So I think anybody who's a fan of sci-fi will be able to jump in. But then
that's what struck me about the show initially was that it's essentially a Western.
We'll pause there. Tugs, the amazing thing is, not a mention of the sequel trilogy. in this entire interview, you can go watch it. Favreau does not want to go there. And I imagine if you put somebody like Dave Filoni on the stage, he would. And I imagine if you put Pedro on the stage, he'll say some things that might ruffle feathers. Jon Favreau knows, even better than Disney, his job is to go out there and make people remember what was it like to see the real Star Wars. Tugs, is this going to work? Can this be the way that they promote the film with essentially just a director and a sentiment for nostalgia?
I mean, maybe, but the problem is I love The Mandalorian. The first season, was really good, and it is a Western, and that's how it felt. Like it's such a good show. Season 2 was fine. I like season 2 a lot. The ending with Luke, we all lost our minds, got made fun of for it, that kind of thing. Disney has shifted to the original trilogy a little heavy-handed, and it's a 180, and in my opinion, it's too late. You've already done the damage that you need to do. You created Batu, not Mos Eisley. You're bringing in now the original characters into Disneyland. They look horrible, by the way. It's nothing to the cast members. The costumes are cheap. You're using the original trilogy to talk about Mandalorian and Grogu, but Mandalorian and Grogu's story doesn't make sense with any of the Star Wars timelines at all. Where were they when shit was hitting the fan? Where do they go? So we're gonna have this cute, emotional, funsy little adventure film with Baby Yoda. Everybody loves Baby Yoda. Everybody loves Grogu. Fine. It may be good. I have a feeling Han, Leia, and Luke may or may not make appearances in this film. There's been a couple people. I know Tyler in the chat has said that Rogue Attraction has said that, Tom, that he has a feeling that that's part of the reason why they're bringing in all these classic characters, is that they're going to make it a surprise appearance, like a de-aged appearance in the movie as like a surprise. But I think it's also too little too late. You've already spent the last 10 years, 11 now, trashing them, literally throwing George Lucas's stuff in the garbage, all of this stuff. And I mean, I appreciate it. Cool. But where was this energy 10 years ago? And I don't know that Jon Favreau, I think Jon Favreau is a little bit more logical. He is the one that started the Marvel Cinematic Universe. People forget that, but he is behind Iron Man, and he's behind that. And unfortunately, they took the reins from him from that too, and it all went downhill from there. But it's too little too late. If they were going to do this, they should have had him running the show from the beginning, I think, in my personal opinion, but it's too late. It's too late now.
Well, Jon Favreau has become the go-to for Disney, and just more evidence of this. Lauren, this is Adam Savage, right? Of Mythbusters, right? Mythbusters fame. Adam Savage. Who's he talking to? He's talking to Jon Favreau. Play a little bit of this. And as I do, folks, the only time I can remember anybody, a director, being like this, unless it's Spielberg or James Cameron, you typically don't promote a film with the director. You promote it with your leading stars. The leading stars are supposed to be leading this. That's why you hired them, was because they're popular. I don't think they have that opportunity with Pedro.
The old Tamiya World War II train cars and rail guns, and
And for the weapons, for the spaceships, or everything. So, and you were, I know you probably recognize.
The IG, the Derwent engines for.
Right, that's a Rolls Royce engine.
Yeah,
right? and before that, it was in the bar.
Yes.
On Tatooine. So we've Amanda Serino and Andrew Jones are, in our art department. They've been sourcing this stuff as they did on the. We've really tried to capture the spirit of the originals.
Pause there. It's over and over and over. Lauren, there's a consistency to this. There's a current to this. The currency of the day is talk about the originals, talk about how much you respect George, talk about capturing the feeling of the nostalgia of when you first saw Star Wars. Don't talk about the sequels. Drop that aesthetic. And that's what this director, that's what Favreau is doing. And he's the guy who's out there promoting. What do you make of this strategy, Lauren? And I don't think this is going to be enough, but it's certainly something to see him out there doing all the heavy lifting.
I've got lots of complex thoughts on this, and
well, good. If you were a simpleton, we wouldn't want you on the show. I mean, anybody can be a simpleton. What do you got, Lauren?
I've gotten a little sick of talking about it because everybody is so negative about it. And
I'm a little ray of sunshine. What are you talking about? Look at me down here. Look at me in my sunglasses. How happy I am.
Before I start talking about it,
okay.
I just want to lay this out because I see it in the chat all the time, and it's starting to get to me a little bit. So I want to lay out my way of thinking.
All right.
There are so many people that are saying it's dead, it's never going to recover, I hate it, stop talking about it, all that stuff. My take on this is that, look, I understand why everybody feels that way. There's probably nobody that hates the sequels any more than I do. But you have to acknowledge that Disney has recognized that they have done serious brand damage to Star Wars, and they are in the middle of attempting to make a pivot. I have no confidence necessarily that they can rescue this because they don't have a visionary in charge who understands the property, that can tell the story in a way that is consistent with the way that George did it and that would have the freedom to do so. But they are offering an olive branch, however small it might be. And so, in my opinion, we can't go out there and immediately disparage everything that they're doing until we've seen it. And so, if I'm going to be objective about what's happening and tell you honestly what I feel, I have to see the movie before I can tell you if it's good or bad. Now, when it comes to Jon Favreau,
the marketing, though, Lord. What do you think about the marketing of this?
I think he's the best ambassador that you could have out there to do it because Pedro, I think, is going to get you in trouble. Sigourney, I don't think, knows enough about the universe to actually be able to talk about it. She as much as admitted that she hadn't seen the show, and the only thing that she knows about is Grogu. Now, I kind of disagree with the audience out there that says that the general audience is sick of Grogu. I think the hardcore fans are, but I think the general audience, I still hear people obsessing over Grogu and how cute he is. These are usually the people who are not real familiar with Star Wars, so I think there is probably still a merchandise draw for those people. There are two things that I see as major problems for The Mandalorian and Grogu. The first is Season 3, which I think torpedoed The Mandalorian as a concept, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that they sidelined the main characters and they put The Mandalorian and Grogu back together. Another is that they directly referenced the sequels there, which is a problem. And I don't know how you fix that. Also, the show changed tonally, and I think that a mistake that they have made with The Mandalorian is that they did start off as a Western, but now I think because Disney is squeamish about him being a traditional bounty hunter, they've aligned him with the New Republic so that he's only working with the good guys. And I think that takes away part of the anti-hero nature of the character. Part of what makes these characters interesting is that you have this bounty hunter character who starts off in the very first episode telling his first quarry, I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold. And you pair him with this baby that he now becomes responsible for. And that humanizes him. He is having to explore his humanity. And this is one of the narrative mistakes they made when they brought him and Grogu back together in the Book of Boba Fett. You had a fantastic opportunity to see how does the Mandalorian react when his charge is now separated from him. And you got to see the start of that in the first episode of that 2-episode arc in the Book of Boba Fett. He was suddenly a lot more brutal. He was angry. And that gives you some compelling things that you can do with that character. They truncated that arc. They arrested Grogu's development. I don't know how you fix that. My guess is The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be, I think they're going to try and set it up as kind of like a Saturday afternoon adventure. I don't think that it's going to have a whole lot of weight to it. And so it's not going to be the thing that's going to rescue Star Wars in the theaters. I think it does have the potential to be fun. But we'll have to see what happens. It's the only person that I would trust with this is John, but I'm afraid that John is too much of a company man, and I don't think that the company has pivoted enough at this point to really correct the mistakes that they've made.
Well, there's also the question of whether or not Jon Favreau has been in charge of any of this since season 2 of The Mandalorian, or whether or not Dave Filoni came in and Kathleen Kennedy and all that. So who knows? One thing is for sure, as we're leading up to The Mandalorian Grogu, we're getting some seriously interesting stories. We covered the other day that the ex-Disney employee said that the plan was to destroy the original trilogy. That literally was the plan inside of Lucasfilm. And so for ex-employees to now come out and say that, I mean, confirmation of what we've been saying, but it sounds crazy to buy Batman and say, well, let's kill Batman and keep Gotham. But that's what Disney wanted, was let's kill the original trilogy. Let's kill what George did. Now you've got this, Oscar Isaac coming out and saying that somehow Palpatine Returned was one of the last reshoots done, or the last reshoot done in post-production for the rise of Skywalker, a.k.a. Palpatine. He comes out in this and says this was essentially a last-minute Hail Mary to try to save this film. And he's quite disparaging, Tugs. He says that it was no effort on his part to feign, the shock, because he was kind of shocked to have to be saying the line even. So this is where we were, like weeks before this movie releases, they're pulling these characters back, these actors back to say, somehow Palpatine returned. And like, oh my, because they watched the movie, the executives said, how did this happen? And somebody said, we don't know. Okay, what do you got? Nothing. What are we going to do? Shoot something. And now everything's hitting the fan, Tugs.
Yeah, what does he say? He says stuff like, I felt the exasperation, let me tell you, or something. And I thought that was so funny because like you could tell in the movie that Oscar Isaac was over it. Whatever it was, you could tell he was over it. Like the way he delivered that line, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to have some juicy tea behind the scenes. That was 5 years ago. And now we're getting it now. And I love that, to be honest. And you could tell, I mean, anybody who didn't think, or anybody who thought that line was original, I don't know what to tell you. Like there was no way that line was written in the script. Just the way it was filmed, the way the whole thing was cut, and that might be because we lost Carrie Fisher and they had to scramble. I don't know, but you could tell that line was just thrown in there. Like, let's throw this little sticky hand at the wall, see if it sticks.
Lauren, did it stick? Did they ever explain how it is that Palpatine really returned?
They have created puzzle pieces that are intended to explain it, but they have not tied them together.
That's how I like my finale to a multi-decade 9-film saga. I really like puzzle pieces to figure out. Okay, so the bad guy suddenly came back in the very last film from what? Never mind. We're just good. Okay.
He's a clone. He's just been lurking for 40 years. Oh, okay.
Hey, in the Rocky movies, what's the name of the guy? Is it Drago? Is that the Russian guy?
Yeah.
Ivan Drago, yeah.
Wouldn't that be interesting if in Rocky 5, suddenly he just showed up just out of the blue in the last 15 minutes and Rocky's like, somehow Drago returned. I'm going to fight him now. That would be something. Lauren, that's what they did.
Oh, God.
That's why, Lauren, they've got to dig themselves out of this giant hole, and they've decided Favreau's the only guy to do it for the Mando movie.
I don't know that they're intending the Mando movie to do that. Like I've said, I don't think that they know how to fix it. I think they understand that they've broken it. I don't think that they have a plan to fix it. I don't think they understand what the audience wants, or more correctly, they understand what the audience wants, but they are not capable of giving the audience what they want because the time window has passed. So what they're stuck with is trying to figure out, okay, how can we make the best out of a bad situation? And I think that what they're doing now is as much research as they can to try and figure out what can we do that can improve our situation from where we're at now. That's not going to hinge on one movie, and certainly not this movie, but it's a start.
If you had to guess, would this one or Starfighter have the bigger box office? If you just I know we don't know how Starfighter's going to be, but if we had to make a guess, which one's got the best chance?
Just based on the audience draw for Ryan Gosling alone, I think Starfighter's the easy bet. But a lot's going to depend on what is the story for that movie and what is their intention for it. We don't know really anything about it other than who is cast and a couple of little minor scene details. Until they give us more meat on the bone, it's difficult to know how the audience is going to react.
Tugs, what do you think? Does Mando have a chance to cross the $500 million mark, 500 million at the box office, or are we lower than that?
I honestly don't know because I have said things have been wrong before. Nobody knew the Minecraft movie was going to do as well as it did. Everybody thought that was going to be like, oh yeah, it'll be fun. Like it's going to make money. Obviously it's Minecraft, but the money that it made blew literally everybody out of the water. Even the Minecraft people, they're like, this is weird. You just don't know, especially nowadays. I think that there is a craving for kids movies. There's a huge craving for them. Theaters are expensive, however. So I don't know. I don't know. I think the merchandise is going to sell well. They dropped the releases for like the popcorn buckets and stuff. There's an AT-AT popcorn bucket.
Did you see they gave away part of the plot though in that one?
No. Well, I saw the little Mando guy crawling on the side of it.
Oh, see, that's the thing. I don't know. Lauren, should we put that up on the screen? Is that okay with you if we do that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't care.
Okay, let me
But I
see if I
don't
can get the
know.
popcorn buckets up there. Hang
I
on,
don't know
folks.
the
We'll get it up there.
context behind it, but there's a plushie. I mean, the merchandise is gonna sell. Grogu is a draw. I love Grogu. I think he's adorable. He doesn't make any sense really, but he's adorable and I love him. So that's gonna make a draw. The movie itself, I don't know. I think it'll go well, but will it stay well in the theater or is it going to have a hard drop? I think that will also depend on plot. I think that will also depend on whether or not speculation comes true that they are going to be doing a de-aging on the OG guys, Han, Luke, and Leia, and they're going to pop in randomly.
So the last we had heard, Tugs, the last we had heard, and we'd heard this a long time ago, and then it kind of got confirmed to us by a source, although it is rumor and speculation, is that they did film those scenes, and they did bring in one of the guys who played the body double for Luke. What we have heard is they probably cut those scenes from the final version of the film. We won't know until it's out there, but we have heard that it's likely those scenes were cut. I don't know, and I don't know if it affects the box office, but I do like these popcorn buckets. The only thing is, looks like Mando's going to be commandeering an AT-AT. I don't know. That could be something cool to see on the big screen. Who knows, right?
Be interesting.
I do like this.
I love that little keychain. I want the keychain. This guy, he's so stinking cute. I know, I'm a girl. It's fine. It's fine. He's so cute.
He's just
so I think this stuff with the popcorn buckets and Star Wars collectors in general, this is one of those shows, unfortunately, after season 2, between the drop off of season 3, the Gina Carano thing, everything, it put a bad taste in our mouths just when we were getting a high note off the Luke Skywalker thing. Here we are crashing down again. And so I don't know. We'll see. I hope it's good. It looks cute. I watched the trailer. I was like, this looks like fun. It looks like a cute little adventure film. I don't see anything wrong with it. Do I think it's going to make $1 billion? Honestly, couldn't tell you. I'm not that good at predicting things like that. Will it draw in the older audience? Maybe, if they do keep the Luke, Leia, and Han stuff that they may or may not have filmed. Depending on how that's handled, that may bring in some people that are like, I'm curious to see how they handle these characters. I don't know. They're doing a lot more original trilogy merchandise on the website. There's a big drop in a couple days for some Spirit jerseys that are 6 film specific, no sequels. So there's a lot of buzz around that. So it's like the 180 is there. Will it help? I hope so, because I miss Star Wars. I think the way to get us back is drop the original films on no special editions. Drop them in theaters. That'll get us back.
There are 2 things that I also want to mention about this that I think are a little bit odd. One is that the best trailer that they had for this movie is one that they didn't release. It was actually the one that they showed at Star Wars Celebration that leaked online in poor quality, and it was the best trailer of all of them that they released. And I don't understand why they didn't clean that one up with finished effects and put that one out publicly, because I think that would have led to a greater draw. The other thing is, I think one of the mistakes of doing this as a movie is that, honestly, the Mandalorian and Grogu shouldn't be in that tier of character. Part of the appeal of the Mandalorian show is that these guys are on the B tier of characters. These are everymen that are in the Star Wars universe that let you explore some of the nooks and crannies of the universe that you wouldn't normally get to see. It's a little bit like why people used to love the Tales of the Mos Eisley Cantina short story compilations, or Tales from Jabba's Palace. It's that you get to explore these side characters and the smaller parts of the Star Wars universe that are kind of fun. In prep for this movie, I've been going back and rewatching The Mandalorian, and I'm only on I'll be watching the 3rd episode of season 2 here probably tomorrow. So I've gotten through the 1st season and the 2nd season. They are still great. And I will not agree with those people that say it's mediocre or mid. The Mandalorian was actually great right up until you got to season 3.
Yep.
And so
season 3, that's why I wonder if Favreau lost control somehow. Is because the quality difference in season 1 and season 2 versus season 3 is like caviar to dog food. It's just it's nowhere even close. It doesn't resemble the same show. It's so odd to go from those. And if you binge watch it, it's stark. It's remarkable how bad things become very quickly.
Yeah. And the marketing for this movie is weird to me too, because I agree with Lauren. Like the Super Bowl thing was weird. It was fine, but the marketing has been odd. And now we're getting, here's a bunch of merchandise drops. It's almost as if they know the movie itself isn't really going to bring in a draw, but the merchandise will. Which I guess, okay, obviously, yeah, because it's Baby Yoda, it's Grogu, that kind of thing. But It's just a really weird. It's a really weird marketing tactic going on here. I don't really know what's happening.
I think now that they have accepted the fact that they have done brand damage, their own confidence has been shaken. I think they're not confident and they don't quite know what to do. And that's really frustrating because it should be obvious what needs to be done. But I think they're in a position where, so far at least, they feel they cannot do that. And so they're stuck trying to, again, make the best of a bad situation. And this movie isn't going to do that. The next 2 movies aren't going to do that. The only thing that will do that is if they change their structure internally such that they have somebody who is actually a visionary, not Dave Filoni. Somebody who is a visionary, who is the guy who says what is and is not the overarching storyline going forward, who is the one guy who makes the decisions and is not making decisions by committee. And he's got to understand the universe and be a fan himself. If they can't do that, they will not recover.
Floral, it's time for you to walk the plank.
What? Why?
Cuz you haven't subscribed to WDW Pro yet. Nor bookmark thatparkplace.com on your web browser to get great articles from great contributors.
What?